Okay, AWS Community Summit UK fans, reInvent is, I guess, officially over. It ended about an hour ago. I got the alert on my phone from the application, and yet we have been lucky enough to get a final interview with VP of Technology AWS, Francessca Vasquez. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you, Steve.
So when we told people we were doing this interview, everybody went, great, which means a lot of people know who you are.
Oh boy.
But for those who don't, can you please describe what VP of Technology means?
Absolutely. So my name is Francessca Vasquez. All the VP of Technology means is I'm responsible for our global architecture, customer success, and our innovation engineering team across our small to mid-sized businesses, startups, and enterprises in all of our major geographies. So we get a chance to work with customers and help them on how best to adopt AWS solutions to enable their business outcomes. And I've been here for just under 5 years.
Wow. So this is not your first reInvent.
Not my first reInvent.
So of all the different announcements that we saw this week, and there were many, we could probably go through, but from your perspective in what you do at AWS, were there any that made you feel that there will be customers that will be delighted with this announcement when they hear it, or things where you feel you had problems maybe before that there are now solutions?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a couple of things. I think when we look across the different geographies, many of our customers have been looking for us to provide more solutions that are tailored, to industry. So I was really passionate about the financial services announcement we made with Goldman Sachs as just one area. I also think that a lot of organizations, as they're building new capabilities, improving customer experience, they are infusing data and machine learning into the applications that they're developing. And one of the pieces of feedback that they tell us is they want that development to be easier. They want to be able to have non-technical users be able to get value. And so I liked a lot of the announcements that were highlighted in Swami's keynote that essentially are making artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities easier to use and really available to all. So I was really passionate about maybe those two announcements. And then the third, if I'm allowed to do a quick third announcement, I still see a ton of great value in just the enhancements and what we're doing for compute. I think when many companies are trying to drive transformation, it oftentimes starts with saving cost and being able to look at how you can optimize for the long term. And so compute solutions like Graviton 3, I think are just, they are pioneering to ensure that customers get a chance to continuously improve, get better price performance over the long term for their new capabilities. So those are maybe my three to start.
I think the Graviton announcement was certainly my colleague behind the camera, Matt's favorite.
Yes.
We had a long conversation last night about it over, a few beers. I want to ask something a little bit more holistic about what you do and how you experience the solution architecture role over the years. And one is, and we've talked about this several times on the show and in other forums, the psychology versus technology element, where you have customers who are looking for certain services that you can provide, but almost from the get-go, you realize that maybe there's a culture element that might be required to make some of this work. Is that something that you personally have seen? Because it's a question that I come from a solution architecture background as well. And sometimes I walk into a scenario and I see, how do I politely say that this won't work? We need to introduce some form of diversity of thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question, by the way. And I sort of see it as, 50-50. On some days it could be 80-20. 80, by the way, being the psychology culture piece of it, 20% being the technology. I think the vast majority of organizations that have made decisions to move to the cloud for some business outcome, and that could be of any variety, I think the hardest part of their journey to start is really not the tech. And it's certainly important, but I think the things that, especially in our enterprises, that they run into is getting the right mindset, getting the right culture, getting people on board. When you operate in the cloud, there's efficiencies that you gain. The work is different. And so you have to think about your workforce differently. And I think that there's a tremendous cultural element to that. I think for us, as we just spoke about the AI machine learning example, it changes the type of skill set. And so oftentimes you are having conversations around diversity in thought, which then is led by diversity in other things like gender or ethnicity or race or even country or geography.
I've noticed over certainly this year and back in 2020, the virtual one, 2019, there's been services that have been announced that I perceived as aiding in migration. So if there are enterprises that are on the edge, they want to use AWS, but they're just missing that critical path. You can convert. This has been a conscious effort on AWS by AWS. And what I was also curious as a sub question is how much does your team feed into that?
Great question. We do a lot of work around customers that are migrating and or modernizing their applications to the cloud. There's a lot of things that we do. One, we have a very vast partner ecosystems, hundreds of partners with various levels of competencies in our migration space, whether that be customers that are moving from on-premises to the cloud, sometimes cloud to cloud, or sometimes they're born in the cloud, but they are needing to use managed services or modernize in, say, maybe databases or other capabilities. So we spend a lot of time with customers on this journey. We've done a few things. The partner community has been instrumental in helping us do that. We've also built services and capabilities in our migration services platform to be able to support those migrations. We have a global program that's meant to accelerate. It's called the Migration Acceleration Program, and that's meant to offer a very easy consumable construct for customers to leverage an assessment, sometimes commercial terms and credits, training, just things that you would normally run into. And then announcement we had this week, which I'm really excited about, is the Mainframe, the Mainframe competency service, which I mean, there are companies out there, enterprises out there who are moving and refactoring off the mainframe into modernized platform. It can be done. It is happening. It is very real. So we're excited about that. The database migration service is another one that we commonly see where customers are looking to leverage data in a new way, and they like our service because it helps them go faster. They don't have to reskill so many of their individuals in the organization. So this is a big focus. Next to things like security and operational excellence, I think the conversation around cloud adoption, which leads to migration and modernization, is very important.
Excellent. It's funny you should mention security. One of our core competencies. I'm not going to get into that. I probably could. So I guess as a final question, I think we're running a little short on time. Okay. If there was I was asked this question yesterday, so that's why I'm asking you. What's missing in terms of services that AWS could provide that we think that could be something that we're looking forward to next year? And I guess the sub question around that was, somebody made a comment that how much does the keynote drive the next keynote? There's been because our minds are already speculating about what is possible. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if you have any predictions for the coming year.
You know, I would just say this. I think what's always missing is always the signals that our customers will give us throughout the course of a year and beyond. And we just try to pay attention to what those signals are. I think what we're expanding upon versus missing is our customers are wanting to have a higher level abstractions and to be able to use both horizontal and vertical solutions based on industry. So I think you will continue to see us make investments in both of those areas. A great example of our horizontal capability has been like what we've done with Amazon Connect, completely revolutionizing how customers are thinking about contact centers and customer experience. I think more of that capability. I think you're also going to see us infuse more machine learning capability in our services and making that easier for organizations to consume. And then interestingly enough, not a service. I think the other key area that we hear and see about that I think for the future, if I'm going to make a prediction, again, workforce training and skills. I think you're going to see us continue to get more innovative and creative around how we're helping organizations across the globe really skill their talent and skilling talent from all sorts of untapped capabilities. I heard a customer tell me this week, how are we going to create a path to unlock all of the Einsteins that are out there that we just do not know about yet? So I'm hoping that we can do that. And by the way, that customer was VTEX. They're a customer out of Latin America and Brazil, and that's how they phrased it this week. And I thought it was a very good sort of summary of what we should be thinking about. So
excellent. So a very similar question. How do you keep up with it all?
That's a great question. I'm not sure I get all 200 plus services every day, but one of the simple ways that I try to stay up to date with what matters and what's useful and important, I spend a great deal of my time in the market with customers, listening, learning, understanding and getting feedback. That's one way. The other way is I'm a user, just like our customers, of our platform. I'm a practitioner, and so I have to log into our console and deploy our services just like customers do. And so I sometimes have my own lens of what that experience looks like. I remain certified in AWS capabilities, and then I spend a lot of time with our partner community, both our ISVs and our technology and global system integrators partners, learning about some of the solutions that they have that also help the onboarding and use of AWS with customers.
Wow. Okay. That sounds like hard
Yeah.
work.
Now, a funny story. I also have an 11-year-old son who happens to be very good, we'll say, in game development. And anytime there's something happening with our gaming customers, of which we have, I get real-time user feedback. And so he's my other stakeholder group on what's happening in that segment. It's pretty funny.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, I think we've kept you for as long as we're allowed to. We'd love
Okay.
to have you all day, but unfortunately, you have
No
other things to do.
problem.
You're
Well,
very busy.
Thank you so much. It
Thanks,
went by so
Francesca.
fast. I hope you have what you need. So.
Yeah, this has been amazing.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.